and welcome to Inside Curtain on Westlink TV. I'm Michelle. Thanks for joining us. We've got a great show for you today. In this episode, we meet some of our very talented fashion design students as they work on a truly innovative project. Check out all the fun and excitement of Curtin's Open Day. Find out about ideas to bring more Indigenous culture to the university grounds. And see world-leading student-designed fashion up on the catwalk. Often the journey from theory to practice can be a long one, but not for our fortunate fashion students who have not only been given an exciting and challenging brief to work their creativity on, but a groundbreaking new material too.
Well, we were approached by Armourcool with the opportunity for our students to utilise some fabrics that they'd sourced in America that have really unique properties in terms of cooling.
Well, basically we came to class and we got handed this brief for Armourcool to produce sportswear, sports looks, streetwear using these Sun Smart fabrics.
Our knowledge of design and fashion is obviously pretty limited, so to be able to be involved with Curtin University and their students has been a wonderful experience.
It's not just a pretend project, it's a real project. So we're looking at these garments being a foundation for possible ideas for the company.
I chose basketball as my sport I wanted to focus in on, so I've used lacing throughout basketball shoe lacing, obviously, throughout the top and put it in different areas just to highlight the eyelets.
And like this can be like a collar which is leather inside and then it goes all the way so you can put it on easily. Because I made such like an intricate design, I was like, oh, how are they going to get in it? So then I was like, I'll just chuck a zip there. That'll work.
The university has a real focus on what's called work-integrated learning, which means that our students we're always trying to find projects that will make that strong connection to the real world rather than just being a pretend environment.
It gives us a kind of an insight into our future work. So it's great because it's not easy.
Definitely help with working with a portfolio and getting an internship later on after uni.
It's a great thing to have on your CV, all that industry experience, especially with runway shows.
We're actually looking at application and development of some of the ideas for an exhibition for Perth Fashion Festival.
Yeah, it's going to be a good night. We're looking forward to it, to be able to firstly obviously display the work that the students have done in terms of their fashions and the creations that they've made, but also gives us the opportunity to launch our product.
It'll be different to have your own designs on the runway instead of always being in the crowd looking at other designers' works coming down.
It's an amazing experience. Like I always look at catwalk images like every day on Instagram, and when fashion weeks come out, I'm so excited to see it. It's like there'll be like a chance of me seeing pictures of my own work on the catwalk.
It's been a great opportunity working with Armourcool. The guys were great and giving us the fabrics, which is really good as well.
I think it's an exciting experience.
We'll show you the results of this work a little later in the show as the finished designs are paraded on the catwalk. Jamming all that Curtin has to offer students into just a few hours was always going to be challenging, but as our most recent Open Day proved, our faculties and campus were more than up to the task.
Perfect.
Despite the terrible weather, it was an amazing day and it sets the bar high for Curtin's next open day. Still to come on Inside Curtin. A former student goes to work designing cricket wear. More from Noel Nanup on songlines and learning about integrity. Our Indigenous people, especially the local Noongars, have so much to teach us about their culture and stories, and to help share that knowledge, elder and all-round amazing storyteller Noel Nanup recently visited campus to discuss how more of this Indigenous culture can be part of Greater Curtin.
The living stream is an important concept that we're looking to integrate into stage 1 of Greater Curtin, and in fact all of Greater Curtin.
It gives us a great opportunity to talk about, in a finer sense, part of a major songline, but concentrating on just one little piece of it.
Well, it is our challenge now to create a memory and a connection for people in Curtin Uni to make meaning of this story.
It has great historical and cultural relevance to the Indigenous people, and there are many ways we're looking to potentially integrate it into our future developments, and they can come from making sure that we protect where the water needs to flow and go, and also undertaking Indigenous planting and of course signage to talk about the cultural relevance.
We can then bring this type of information to people that are studying there to realise that there's way more to what Aboriginal people are about, and it's not necessarily just the story, song, dance and art. It's a deeper thing, and it's spiritual. And then when opportunities like this come along where we can articulate it as Aboriginal people and what it means to us and where it is, despite all this, new world, we're still hanging on to that old way, and we still know it, we still understand it, and like that old way, it's all about sharing.
Other opportunities include integrating artwork into some of the developments and also into the built form itself.
It's quite unique in that Curtin accepted the Indigenous space as a base layer for its planning.
Stage 1 and Greater Curtin is about a place for many people, and we want everyone to understand the beauty and importance of the living stream and the contribution that Noongar culture makes to this place, Curtin University.
Noel shared so much knowledge and history with us, and we'll be hearing more from him later in the program. Still to come on Inside Curtin. A former student goes to work designing cricket wear. More from Noel Nanup on songlines and learning about integrity. Earlier in the program, we showed you our fashion design students hard at work, facing up to the creative challenges of a revolutionary new stretch material. Well, shortly afterwards, the sewing machines were cranked up one last time before the designs hit the catwalk in Fremantle.
So we welcome now to the stage the Curtin University School of Design and Art.
talented designers are coming out of our school, and they should all be very proud of their work. Still to come on West Links Inside Curtin, an intern gets onto a good wicket and the Noongar concept of songlines is explained. The Olympics have come and gone with our partners the Kookaburras and Hockeyroos putting on a great performance thanks to small improvements in many areas, some of which the team at Curtin have been right behind.
Hockey went through a bit of a revolution in the last couple of years. They went from 2 halves, 35-minute halves, into 4 quarters. And that's actually made the game a lot faster, a lot more intense, and actually a lot more injurious to the players. We actually have a tiny little tracker. It's about the size of a mobile phone, and the players wear it between their shoulder blades. It picks up GPS signals at 15 times a second, but it also gives us an understanding of impacts. So it has an accelerometer in there. It will measure body lean, it will measure heart rate. So it gives us an overall picture of intensity of the game. So what we can actually do with the information is to look at fatigue. Is a good marker of fatigue, how quickly players fatigue, how often do they need to actually be substituted, what kind of recovery strategies that may be used with the players, and who's actually going to come on fresh. So it's actually keeping the team at an optimum level. We actually have some prac students from the Exercise and Sports Science course working with the strength and conditioner at hockey, analysing GPS data. So they're actually analysing the data from not only games but also training on a day-to-day basis. You would have to work at the AIS to get this sort of involvement. So lucky for us, we have the AIS on our back doorstep. And so that's fantastic for students, it's fantastic for researchers, it's fantastic for staff. And we've been able to leverage a lot of traction from this particular relationship.
It will be fascinating to see where this research will take us. Education around the world is changing rapidly, and progressive universities like Curtin are rapidly rising to these international challenges. We thought it would be great to find out more from the team behind the innovations.
Experience at Curtin go?
Look, I really look forward, and I think we're gradually generating a really dynamic student experience, one that's really flexible, where you can study via whatever mode you like. Students these days are already taking advantage of some of our collaborative learning spaces and using their iPad to dial into the class to be part of the classroom if they don't want to be on campus, but when they want to come here, turning up and having face-to-face interactions, much less of the didactic. Really moving away from the lectures, because there's a lot of ways now that you can get information with the internet, and lots of ways that we can disseminate information via mini videos or podcasts or other interactive activities. So it's really about a student experience that suits the student no matter where they are, no matter how they want to study, no matter when they want to study. So I'm really keen to see much more flexibility. For example, we've opened the library up now 24 hours a day.
It's really useful.
Yeah, really useful. Really well used, and you'd be surprised the statistics between 2 a.m. and 6 a.m. It's a very busy place.
Especially when those exam weeks come up, it just really ratchets up.
So I'm talking to our staff about really how can we make the university, a bit more towards a 24-hour campus. But I think we'll look forward to a campus that's vibrant, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And we're seeing that through the place activation that's happening on campus, and more services are being made available to students out of what would be traditional working hours. And we've put a lot of services online digitally as well, so you can access them from your iPad, phone or computer, wherever you might be.
How do you think students studying online will affect people who study here on campus and come to campus?
Yeah, look, it's a really good question. I think often people say, well, students are going to study online, they're doing that now, they'll increasingly do that into the future. Therefore, what are you wasting your money for on campus? In fact, I think the reverse in terms of our investment almost. I think we've got to really invest in a very vibrant campus experience. Students will always want to come onto campus. They will want that experience because it's where you meet friends, it's where you network, you get study groups going together. It's as human beings, we love to be social. And while you can do that online, there's nothing like that student experience on campus. I think even if you study fully online and you're in another part of Perth or another part of WA, Australia or the world, I think you want to know that the university that you're studying at is very innovative, that it's flexible, that it's a great campus, that when you go there you're really part of a big community.
Having those world-class facilities that you can say that I went to a campus that has an electron microscope or is part of the square kilometre array.
Absolutely. I think having those sorts of facilities here on campus and the research that's actually done at the university, that teaching research nexus is really, really important. So all of our teaching is informed by research, and you've got to have a campus to develop both your teaching and your research as a university, and make sure that students take full advantage of all the opportunities that a university has to offer.
Thanks, Jill. It's been really interesting talking to you about your experience.
Thanks, Liam. I've really enjoyed it as well.
Earlier, we met the amazing Aboriginal elder Noel Nannup to hear his ideas for Curtin's new twin dolphin trail. As he mentioned, all this is based on the ancient concept of songlines, so we thought it only right that we get him to explain a little bit more about the concept.
If you find yourself contemplating, well, what really is a songline, then in the old way for us as Aboriginal people, you have to go right back to the dreaming. And when you get back to the dreaming, it's at a time when it was freezing cold. It was almost dark to the point where it was dull and eerie. There was no wind. In this freezing cold, dull, windless place is where the creation of everything on the planet comes into it for us. Most people now call it the dreaming. And as that comes into reality, what happens is there's this process. And the process is where all the spirits gather together. They're all spirits. They're representing birds and plants and animals and trees. And as they're doing that, they're going through a process of elimination as to which one of them has the qualities and the capabilities to care for it. And obviously people will eventually win that right. But the fastest moving of the spirits initially were the birds, the plants, the animals and the trees. And they formed a bond, unbreakable bond, where they would become totems for the people. And self-centeredness had to be banished. And so when you use your imagination and you're told a story, that imagination will transport you to somewhere in your mind. And you will see it vividly in your own way. But what you must never do is limit your imagination, because remember I'm talking about a songline? Remember I'm talking about how it formed? So the first audible sound, even before everything was real, was the movement of what we call wagar. Most people say woggle or waggle. I call it wagar. And as wagar moved, it made a noise. It went because remember I said it was freezing cold? What happens to the water when it's freezing cold? It freezes. And what happens to water when it's freezing cold and it's half a kilometre thick? It moves. They call them glaciers. That's what a wagar is. And as it moves, it makes that sound. And all the spirits that wouldn't win the right to care for everything were drawn to follow the great wagar. And as it moved, they heard that noise. The first noise of a song. And as it made that noise, they decided that they would use their voices and sing. And they began to sing, composing the very first songs to the tune of the great wagar moving across the land. That then became the rhythm of the land. And as they sang and followed, that became a songline along which the spirits travelled. And they still travel to this very day according to the way we look at the world. So that is what a songline is. And they give us a rhythm, which is the rhythm of the land. Or you might want to call it the rhythm of life.
Continuing our fashion theme on today's show, we thought we'd meet one of our ex-students who has been working with a bunch of cricket fanatics and the new cooling fabric we spoke about earlier. Despite not knowing much about the sport, she has been spending her time designing cricket wear.
I graduated from Curtin last year. We had Anne email us about an internship with Armacool just when they were starting up. So I basically got in with that. I did an interview and they liked me, so...
A friend of ours and the guy we played cricket with for many years, David Lambassa, introduced us to a product called Cool Core, which is a new revolutionary fabric that cools the body a lot better and more effectively than other fabrics.
What we then did is we kind of did meetings and talked about designs that they wanted to do for cricket, and then basically went from there and actually ended up making some samples for cricket wear.
Our knowledge of design and fashion is obviously pretty limited.
I've watched a few cricket games, so I don't know a lot about it, but I did learn like a little bit.
Obviously the Cool Core fabric is untried, I guess, as such from a cricketing aspect. And to be given that opportunity to develop it and see it grow from an idea to concepts to a working model like we have now, and obviously to take that forward and launch it is very exciting.
It was good. Yeah, I got to learn a lot just because I was doing a lot of the pattern making and sewing, so that was really good to kind of be more so in charge of that. So that was really interesting and it gave me a lot to learn, and speaking to the production house in China, yeah, it's really good. It kind of makes me feel proud in a way. Yeah, no, it's becoming real, so it's really good.
We're starting with something that we know and that we've got a market for, but the opportunities that exist past that are enormous.
It's done a lot for me, and just learning and meeting new people as well that are starting in the industry. No, it's been a really great experience.
Just as technology is helping many people learn better, for some it also offers new ways to bend the rules and perhaps manipulate the system, which is why there is a group of people working behind the scenes to help everyone understand the boundaries and expectations.
The Registrar's Office looks after a range of things which revolve around academic governance and policy setting, but also around the promotion of academic integrity and the management of student conduct and misconduct where that's appropriate as well. So we have an involvement with things like the Student Charter and the rules and processes around that. One of the things that we've done recently is the development of an academic integrity programme. And this is something that's been led by our office, and it's great team effort across the university because a lot of people have been involved with this.
The Academic Integrity Program is a new program that we've started in semester 1 of 2016, where students learn about Curtin values, ethics about academic integrity, and basically what they should be doing as a student at Curtin. Basically, we're thinking about academic integrity from two different points of view. One is a prevention point of view, and the other one is early intervention. So this academic integrity program is the prevention side of it. So it's a way for students to have an early in their career, have a better understanding of what does academic integrity mean? What does Curtin want from me as a student? What kind of things am I responsible for as a student? The students do the e-learning module, which is basically 2 hours worth of content, where they learn about referencing, plagiarism, cheating, working in groups, Curtin values, things that we think are important as an academic community. At the end of all of that, they take a test where they test their understanding of the information that was covered in the content. We're using some of the gamified elements from the challenge platform. So basically where students are learning content, but in such a way that it doesn't feel like a chore, and it's not just looking at text and doing a tick box after what they know. So it's more like engaging with the content. The good thing about the program is that as soon as a student enrolls, they're automatically put into the program. So it's a rolling type of enrollment. So we'll just continually pick up all of the new students and those that have switched courses into the program, and by doing that we'll capture all Curtin students over the next couple of years.
So far, we've had 18,500 students enrolled in the program, and we've had 14,500 students that have completed the program. And that's 95% of semester 1 students.
I think programs like this have a great potential to raise awareness. One of the issues that we have is that as technology changes and advances, then obviously it can be put to good uses as well as to less good uses. And to an extent there's an issue of an arms race, perhaps even between, on one hand, students using ever more sophisticated technologies and universities trying to bring that in. But I think basically we've got to step back to what are the values of a university and what should they be, and how should we model good behaviour and show that this is something that is important and matters to us. So that means when we teach, we should teach showing the references and how we acknowledge the sources of others. That's very important. And that's part of promoting that across the university. At the moment, we're looking at the rules and policy frameworks that govern academic misconduct, and we're running a university-wide consultation on those processes at the moment because we want to make sure that they're going to stand Curtin in good stead for the years ahead, just as they have done up until now. So that's running at the moment. We're also convening a forum on a single topic, which is the topic of contract cheating, which is something that's sorely testing universities across the sector worldwide. It's a global problem on a global scale, and in October, on the October the 13th, Curtin will host a WA-based forum looking at this particular topic in great detail.
We hope you've enjoyed finding out what's going on around Curtin. We'll be back next month on Westlink to show you more. Don't forget Westlink is available to all viewers who receive their free-to-air TV via satellite. You can find us on channel 602. You can also catch Inside Curtin on YouTube and around campus at Curtin. In the meantime, if you'd like to find out more, you can check the website curtin.edu.au. Thanks for your company, and we'll catch you next time.